Hi, my name is Manhattan Carnes, and this is my presentation on change management. So, for the background of the situation, what had happened was there was a request of change that was submitted to the IT department, um, and the request was made, but there was a fault in the system, and it got sent to the wrong group of people, and they were notified, and it essentially caused the system to crash, and those people could not do their jobs effectively because they couldn't input anything, and basically they couldn't do their job. So once the IT department finally removed the request that was made and everything went back to normal, and after that the IT department determined that there should be a change management procedure that needs to be put in place so that this essentially wouldn't happen again. So, my recommendations for this would be to have a set plan that includes submission, review, planning, approval, and implementation along with a post review of the submission. Starting with submitting the change, it needs to be formal, and each request will then be categorized into priority. The submission will be identified, and then next it will be reviewed, and essentially it will see if it is justifiable, what impact it could have, what risks there are, and essentially it's just going to go through the entire submission to see that like if it's really needed. Um, Next is planning for the change. What are the impacts? What changes will need to be explained? And when can this be accomplished? Because after what we had seen previously, knowing exactly when the right timing to submit this new change and like implement it is really important because you have to plan for this change because obviously it did not work out very well the first time. Um, it really is important though to make sure to know how the workflow will be changed in this setting as well. Next, we have approval. That is to know what is the most efficient and effective way to distribute and obtain this change, and basically knowing if it's going to be a positive impact or a negative impact. Now, implementing it is the next step, which when is the best time to implement this? How can you implement it? What are the preparations needed to be implemented? Because this could be a really big change, and if people aren't prepared for it, then it's just gonna fail if people aren't ready for it. And so basically just knowing when and how to implement it is going to be really important after it's been approved, obviously. And then doing a post review, I think, is something that every single person should do, no matter what kind of situation or organization they're in, because always like reviewing everything that like you do and changing is essential to helping an organization grow and making it better and making the quality of care better. And so, did the submission help or did it do what it wanted to do? How could it improve, if any? Was it useful, needed? And what are the next steps in changing this change that we just made to make it better? Because I always think that you can improve something, even if it is just the tiniest thing of, oh, this font isn't as easily readable, or the size of the font. Just little tweaks like that could mean the difference between someone taking 10 seconds to read something and someone taking 5 seconds. So, and I know time is very essential, especially in certain situations. So, next we have the change control meetings. So, I believe that there should be a change control board, which should be made up of development manager, a test leader, a product manager. I would even possibly add in like the CEO or the owner of the company because I do think that they should know what's going on, and if they come across something that they don't think is really necessarily needed, then I feel like they should have the ability to approve or deny something because like they are the ones that are in charge. So at these meetings, they will review change request, the document of changes, basically meaning does it correct something, does it prevent something, or is it repairing something? Because if it doesn't do any of the three, I don't like it. It may not even be needed to be changed, or a submission should either correct something, prevent something, or repair something in the system. So when approving or denying the changes, if they do deny the changes, they should have an explanation as to why and have the person know exactly what was wrong with the change and or the submission and why it got denied in the first place. And then finally tracking their changes to like agree or disagree with what they did, because they might approve something and it may not actually end up doing what it needed to be done, and they might decide, oh no, we need to take this back because it could have possibly like damaged the workflow or hindered it or anything other else going on. So finally, communicating changes to end users. I think it's really important about communicating, because if you don't communicate properly, it won't work out the way that it should. So communicating, being honest and clear and simple is essential. Telling them what's in it for them, because if they know like the positive impact that it could make on them, they'll be more probably apt to want to want to handle the change and like grow with it. Making sure that they know their expectations, because they need to know what they're supposed to do and what expectations are held for them. And communicating these new changes, if it needs to be through a picture or a video other than like an email, like then do that. Sometimes people work better as like a video showing them exactly how to use new things, and I really think that that's something that more people should use. And then making sure that they're prepared. If they're not prepared for this change, the IT department will continue to get calls over and over again, because if like one person has the same problem, I assume that other people in their department are going to have the same problems. They're going to keep getting calls. So to avoid that and like make sure that the workflow continues, they need to be prepared. And so communicate the change as early as possible to them so that they can start to get used to knowing that there's going to be a change, and like if you can let them know that what type of change, they can be more prepared as well. So again, communication is one of the biggest things in any type of organization and system. And here are my references, and if you have any questions, let me know, and thank you.